And we're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris from MediaFreshPress.com, and I'm here again with Nathaniel Brennis from One More Cup of Coffee, and we're doing another episode of Fresh Coffee, or Fresh Plus Coffee, and today we're going to be talking about what's going on in the SERPS, specifically Google search results. And believe it or not, we came up with this topic before the whole authorship debacle, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to try not to harp on that too much, and we're going to try to really talk about what's going on in the organic search results pages. So that's what we're doing today, and we hope you guys enjoy it. Nathaniel,
What's up?
how was your week?
It's been pretty busy. I was just telling, I don't know who I'm talking to, you or the audience, but as you know, as I was telling you, something that I want to tell everyone who's watching is how it works with me is always go through like a slump where I just feel like it's not working, I'm not getting results, and then suddenly I'll start getting results, and then I'll like have a fire lit under my butt. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna crank out these reviews. Traffic's been going good for me this past like couple weeks, and so I've been real motivated. Like yesterday, I did, I think two reviews for One More Cup of Coffee. I proofread one of my posts, and then I did a review for two of my other blogs. So I would say total yesterday I wrote something like 6,000 words, something like that. I don't know. It's got a lot done.
Yeah, that's a lot for one day, man. Yeah, you were telling me before we started the show, everybody was telling me he did all these reviews. So I kind of figured it out in my head. It takes Nathaniel about a tenth of the time to write 3 reviews that it does for me to write one. So that was pretty good.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you get used to it, that was like a huge thing. It's funny. Like I always talk about not wasting time. And you know, when I did the WA boot camp stuff, I had been through the regular course, and I was like, oh, whatever. Okay, I'll do boot camp. And I went through it, and there was like a few things in boot camp that really changed how I did stuff on One More Cup of Coffee. And one of them was to use a template for my reviews. What I do before is I would just start everything from scratch and custom, tailor it to each review, which was fine, but it also takes a lot of mental capacity to do that. So now I've got my template down, I can just, crank these out. Like I look at the product and I don't have to think about how it's formatted, and that like one little piece of knowledge there really helped me work faster.
Yeah, I'm going back through the boot camp now, as you know, so I seen the template there, and I'm really picking up a lot of stuff that I don't know, this kind of stuff, these kind of basic things like, you've heard before, probably before you went back through the boot camp, that you've got to have a template, or that having a template helps, but it's just kind of one of those things you just kind of brush off,
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying going back through the boot camp there. Actually, what I wanted to talk about real quick on that subject is the whole review thing, and this kind of ties into our SEO topic a little bit, or at least getting traffic anyway. When I started in Wealthy Affiliate, I never really wanted to do the review thing. I don't know why. I felt like there were so many sites out there doing it, but I'm starting to see more and more that I don't think, or at least most of the people that buy online, I don't think they buy without reading a review. It really seems that way. And I wish there was a way that, I don't know, that we could kind of figure out a new way to do it, because reviews, like you said, they're templated, and I don't know. I don't really know what my point is, but I tried to stay away from it for a long time, and I'm starting to realize now that was a bad decision.
No, I know what you mean, and I know this is specifically for people who are affiliates of WA, but I'm sure there's some way you could apply it to any niche. But for me, it was like when I started off doing One More Cup of Coffee, I did the whole like, oh, how to do keyword research, how to find a good niche, uh, 5 things your blog needs to be successful, or 2 things that are destroying your business. And I just didn't get any traction with it. I wasn't that active on social media. My writing wasn't that great, and I don't know. I found that, and we've talked about this before, is like my target audience just wasn't that type of person. Like the people that would read 3 things that you need to supercharge your blog, those are people that know how to have a WordPress blog. They already have a website. They're not getting traffic, and they probably have either their own learning methods or their own mentors or whatever. It's going to be a harder sale. You got to have them change direction. They're reading blogs from I don't know, Copy Blogger or Niche Pursuits or something like that, and then you got to have them change gears and say like, okay, no, you don't want to get backlinks, and you don't want to care about SEO, and you have to start from the beginning and go to WA. So I was like, whatever, I don't care about those people. I want to target the guys who are like, $1 million in 2 hours. That sounds pretty legitimate to me. Like, there are people out there that are like that, and I mean, not to knock them, I guess kind of. If I were really politically correct, I would. I don't know. There are people out there that believe that because there are people out there that buy this stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, they just kind of need that little extra push, someone to confirm, because everyone watches this and they're like, that doesn't sound right, but I want it to be right, so I want it to be true. So they kind of skip over these red flags, and not everyone does their research, but those that do, they're like, okay, yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, that's a good point too. They skip over the red flags because they want to believe it. Let's go ahead, since you brought up backlinks, so let's go ahead and jump into the topic here before we go off on another direction like we do. You brought up backlinking, like, don't worry about it, because that's kind of one of the ways we really learn. At least that's what I took away from the training that we got. For those of you that don't know, Nathaniel and I kind of picked up our training and got our start in the same place. So where the focus was really on content and quality and stuff like that. We weren't really taught, about these big backlink schemes and, you got to get links and all that. I mean, I think we both understand the importance of a good link, but it's not a priority. So, I mean, isn't that what you got from it when you started there at Wealthy Affiliate? Was just, the links are kind of a byproduct of the quality stuff that you write?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the main training now. It used to be, I don't know when you joined, but I know when I joined there, it used to be some training on backlinks. There was like article marketing stuff, and we were told to get profile backlinks and backlinks from forum signatures, and there was even some stuff on link wheels, and I mean, that was kind of like what people did back in the day, and now they've gotten rid of all that training, and there's no focus on backlinks at all.
Yeah, when I joined there, we were still doing like article marketing and stuff like that, and link wheels were still a thing, but they were on the way out, So I did a lot of article marketing at first and stuff like that, but I didn't really ever do that for the links. Every time I get a link, I mean, I've always just really wanted the traffic from it. I've never done it as an optimization thing, never. I mean, I think about that when I get it, but my whole reason is to get the traffic. Because, I mean, if you've got traffic, you don't need SEO. Now, you might need SEO to get traffic, but if you've already got traffic, you don't need search engines.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, article marketing still works to some degree. I don't know the finer points of it, but like I know that I have old websites that I don't do anything to, and they don't rank for anything, and they still get traffic. So that traffic is coming from somewhere, and I think it's in part from articles. If you have enough articles out there, even if they're all ranked on page 2, let's say you have 2,000 articles out there, and they're all ranked on page 2, and one person per day ventures off onto page 2 of the search results, like that's 2,000 hits in a day right there.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about. Do you remember when you started what the search results page looked like? I mean, was there actually organic stuff above the fold?
You mean with
And
yeah, I
Google?
didn't quite understand this note in the document you sent me. Are they putting more PPC ads above the fold? Is that the
I
deal?
mean, I think it's different for different keywords, but I mean, almost all the good stuff you search for, man. There's like 3 PPC ads, and then you can kind of barely see the half of half of the top organic result. It's like,
Okay,
God.
yeah, I see that now. You know, I don't really remember. I remember I saw one guy who was going off on a rant on Google how they had some algorithm change where they're like no ads above the fold, and he showed a screenshot of Google results and it was like all PPC ads above the fold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of, and they've always constantly said. I hear this a lot from like Pando Daily and stuff like that, Pando.com or whatever it is. That she's always talking about how Google always, in the beginning said that they would never alter their search results or whatever it was, and they're constantly doing it. And I mean, the thing with Yelp, I don't even really know that whole story, but just the bits and pieces I get of it, I can tell it wasn't, ethical really.
What
Um,
happened with Yelp?
I don't, like I said, I don't really know, but I think they were pushing down Yelp's results or something like that. Let me open the Q&A up here. I'm sure somebody else knows a little bit better, but uh, Randy says I'll have what he's drinking. I'm not sure what that means, but
Maybe Randy is drinking.
all right. But anyway, yeah, they did. I think they were involved in a lawsuit with Yelp over the search results. So, um, whatever. I don't really know. I shouldn't have brought it up since I don't know much about it. But yeah, there was a big ordeal with it.
Yeah, I don't really use Yelp. I know there are like hardcore Yelpers who are like, oh, I don't know where to go. I'm gonna go see if there's anything good on Yelp. When I was in Riverside, my friends were like that. I'd go to new places, and for me, like, I just go to whatever's nearest. I don't really care what some guy on Yelp is like. Oh, they have the best burger ever. Um,
Yeah.
but I think there was a lot of gaming in Yelp as well. I think these reputation management companies kind of skewed the results. And wasn't there some controversy that Yelp was? I think if you paid Yelp some money, they would push down the bad reviews. So people were talking about Yelp not actually being a legitimate source for reviews.
Yeah. I really don't know the ins and outs of that, but yeah, there was a big thing about them. The whole review thing. They did a story on it on one was say like CNN or one of them, something like that, 2020 or something. But yeah, that's what really, I think it was Yelp that kind of started this whole fake reviews thing. Which I mean, we've all known about that for a while, but I guess a lot of people that buy and search for stuff online didn't realize that a lot of these reviews are, false, fraud, or whatever. So
Hmm.
pretty crazy stuff.
But what made you think about the above the fold stuff? Was that something that changed in your search results recently?
No, I was doing some PPC the other day, and I just got to looking at it, and I noticed how some keywords were different than others, and um, I was just really surprised that like the whole thing. I mean, I knew that it was that way already, but I haven't paid much attention to it until I started running some of my own PPC because I haven't done much AdWords stuff until recently. And I was looking at it, I was like, damn, they've got nothing organic above the fold here.
Hold on to your wallet if you're doing AdWords. Like that was. I was talking to Dom recently, and I was looking at some of my expenses, and I was like, damn, I spent like $3,000 on AdWords, and I was like, oh, that's not bad. And I looked, it was 1 month, and I was like, oh my god,
Wow.
it's a little bit exaggerated. It was like, but it was a couple grand that I didn't realize I spent. I had turned off the ads, but collectively, I didn't realize that I had spent that much money. It's astronomical, and at least in this niche, for my site and the stuff that I've been running, I haven't made jack on it. Like, the funny thing about PPC for these like business opportunities or make money niche is I think Google has some kind of algorithm that turns them off. Like, when I search for some of these scams, I don't see any PPC ads, and I
Yeah.
know. Was that?
Yeah. Go ahead. I've noticed that too.
I know there's got to be people bidding on it. I've bid on it, and I've got clicks. So I can't tell how that works.
Yeah, I've noticed that same thing because like before I started running my ads, or I mean even a while back when I was thinking about running these ads, I would the first thing I did was go to the SERPs and try to see what competition was where, who they were, what they looked like, and all that. And it was like there was nothing there. And then when I search it again, like in the same page, then like one will pop up or two or something. It's really weird. So they definitely got some kind of algorithm, and this may be common knowledge. I don't know, but they definitely got something that maybe for people that they know are in that niche or whatever, they remove the PPC ads. I don't know, but I definitely noticed that.
What's another annoying thing about AdWords is that um, they don't let you bid on low competition stuff. Like, there has to be a certain amount of traffic for you to actually bid on a keyword. Now with Bing, I could write anything in there, and it'll list it as a keyword, and if someone types it in, I'll rank for it. And it doesn't matter if it's exact or phrase or broad, I can at least have it there. And AdWords, they just won't let you do it. It'll say it's low traffic, which I guess is honest of them. I don't understand what benefit that has to them, that if it's low traffic, that they won't let you bid on it. And I'm sure it's a money thing. But yeah, doesn't that kind of mess up some potentially good PPC campaigns right there? Isn't that the whole point? Is to get like to pay a small amount of money for clicks for stuff people are searching for.
Well, I would think that that's got more to do with. I mean, I didn't realize that though until you just said that, but I would think that it's probably got more to do with competition. So, like, if you're the only one bidding on that keyword, you're just going to ride that keyword out for whatever it may be, 50 cents or whatever it may be a click, with no competition. Until if you got another person bidding on that keyword with you, the chances of them getting more money because you guys are going to try to outbid each other. So I'd say that's probably what they're looking at. You find a keyword that nobody else is bidding on, and if it's not enough per click, then they're probably just not going to let you do it. I would think.
Because I would think, like, with local results, there's got to be just a tiny amount of searches. Like, if I'm going to do best pizza in Modesto, there like a couple hundred searches per month, maybe?
Yes.
It's got to be tiny.
Uh-huh.
So how do local businesses bid on keywords like that? Or do they not? Are they supposed to be dependent on the local search results?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, man. I don't know. And maybe they charge more for local type ads. I don't really know about that. But I know I was talking to like a vape store here in town, and he wanted to do PPC, but of course they won't let him because I guess it's like vaping is not a tobacco thing, but it's nicotine, I guess. So it's got nicotine in it. So Google won't let him run PPC ads. But we were talking about some of the other local ads and stuff like that. So he was saying that it was insanely expensive, and I was like, how can it be? So I don't know. That's something I'd like to know more about too. Is local ads. Who knows what they're thinking on that end, man? I mean, that's that algorithm's got to be way more complex than the organic one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Not to go off on a PPC thing again, but I discovered a cool little trick to lower my costs for PPC. Is I, at least for me, I excluded mobile devices, which sounds counterintuitive, but I think a lot of people, they're just on their phones screwing around and they're looking up this stuff and they're not going to sign up, they're not going to pay for anything. So I excluded mobile devices, and then I excluded certain countries. So I kind of just went down a list in my mind of countries where I thought there's a lot of fraud going on, like Nigeria, or there's a lot of like, maybe I think they can't afford what I'm selling, or maybe they're kind of known for spammy activity, and I went to my campaign and put exclude these countries, and I dropped my cost per action by $1.50.
Wow, that's a lot, really.
Yeah.
The whole mobile thing, man, I agree with you too. Like, I guess depending on what kind of page you're sending them to, but yeah, I think a lot of people are just kind of like you said, surfing around. And I've tried the same thing on Seven Search, and it seemed to do a little bit better for some offers. Um, this whole mobile thing really confuses me, man. And that's really a big part of what we're talking about today, because this whole everything they're doing to their search engine right now, they're saying is for mobile. I mean, the whole hummingbird thing was supposed to be catered to people using Google Voice, right? This new authorship photo thing is supposed to be about creating a better experience for mobile users, and I don't get it, man. I don't understand none of it.
You would think they would be able to just turn off the photos for mobile users.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I don't know, man. The whole mobile thing scares me. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I do it, but I doubt there's very many people that sit on their phone and read blog posts and really dig into your website. So it worries me what's going to happen with our niche with this whole mobile thing coming on, or not coming on. I guess it's here, but it worries me big time.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a couple things I think about that. For me, I guess I'm always home and I have a computer, so I don't really like browsing on my phone. Um, it's small, you gotta scroll a lot. I certainly don't want to buy stuff through my phone when I could just as easily wait an hour and go sit at my computer and see like a full-size picture. When am I gonna instantly need something from Amazon? I'm like on a bus somewhere and like, oh my god, I forgot. I need dish liquid. Like I have to get it right now. To buy it from Amazon. Like what situation are you gonna be in where you have to purchase something on a phone unless you don't own a computer? And a smartphone is, they're I don't know if that's called subsidized, whatever that means. It's like you can put it on a payment plan. You can pretty much everyone has one and is able to get one, even like cheapy ones. So you've got people that their main device for surfing the internet is a mobile phone. So maybe they don't have a choice except to buy on the phone.
Yeah, and I mean our I guess what are they called? Like tablets and iPads and all that stuff. Is that considered mobile?
In Google Analytics, they're different, but I think in general, iPads and stuff, tablets are considered mobile.
And I'm gonna look real quick here because I'm curious to see. I mean, let's talk about this authorship thing real quick too, man, because I mean we can't really avoid it. I don't want to harp on it too much, but
Real quick, Randy has a question. He says, "Sounds like PPC can be a crapshoot instead of something you can relatively count on." That's Not really true. If you jump into PPC without any sort of prior knowledge or learning, or without like a focused eye, you can lose money really quickly. And anyone who's good at PPC pretty much has a story to say how they lost a bunch of money in some situation. So it's going to happen. You need a budget. But if you're diligent about looking at your campaigns and looking for ways to improve them, cutting off ones that don't make money, or I mean that are costing you money versus making you money, then you can kind of whittle away at it. I found that with my Bean campaigns is that I started out with only a few ads that weren't making any money, and I slowly grew it. I called them recently, and I had 250 ads running. So I've got a lot of ads going on. And like I just said, I was able to do a little tweak, and I reduced my cost per action. So cost for every sign up at these ads are for WA by $1.50 in a month. So I mean that's huge. That's I don't know, it's like 30% or something of my cost.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at the results here. Let's see if I can pop it up there. You can see that there's some pretty decent. I mean, you seen the headshot in there, right?
No, I just saw a flash of white.
Okay.
Okay, there's some headshots that are still in the results.
And they look good on, and I got a pretty small phone compared to what a lot of other people use. I mean, there's smaller ones out there, but it looks good, man. I don't understand what the big deal was. Now, what I'm wondering about is it cutting off some of the meta information? You know, like if they have your photo in there, or if they take it out, are they trying to make more room for the description and the title and stuff, maybe, which is something we've been talking about a lot lately too. I noticed you posted that title thing in the community, and then it was like the day before that I posted a question in the Dumb SEO community about description length and stuff like that. And I don't know, the whole description length thing has been throwing me off because everybody's always said 160 characters, and that's really not the case at all, man.
Yeah.
I can't get 160 characters out of pretty much any of my descriptions. My max has been about 147, and it changes. So I try to stick at 130. But I've seen some that were almost 200 characters. I think even more than that. And I've read about people that have seen really long descriptions like that. And I think the same thing goes for titles. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to get more room for that kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I know the meta description bonanza that happened earlier in the year. I really dug into these meta descriptions, and Google does choose them a lot, but if you're targeting a keyword and someone types in your keyword, they come up pretty regularly, your custom meta descriptions. So they're worth writing. And it's weird. Sometimes meta descriptions will pick up alt tags in your images. And I don't know why that is. I guess just because of the keyword. So like I've seen complete gibberish in the meta descriptions where it's like, you know, depending on where you align the image, it'll have like the first sentence, and then it'll have your alt tag bolded because it's your keyword, and then it'll have the rest. Or it'll have like a part of the somewhere else in your blog, like it'll pull different sentences or a chunk that's not necessarily the first part of your blog. So they don't always make sense. Sometimes it's just words.
And you've seen that even when you've written your own description, or when you've just let it grab its own thing?
I don't remember. I think the one instance that I saw that was a meta description with an alt tag despite having a custom meta description was when one of the tags ranked. So it wasn't an actual post. It was, you know, a tag. So it was like a list of posts.
Yeah, it almost sounds like maybe like the featured image because your thumbnail almost always is part of your excerpt. Like if you're doing a blog roll and you've only got the excerpt showing, that thumbnail is almost always a part of that. And I've seen stuff where like, you know how I use like WP Socialite for my sharing buttons. I've seen that come up in the meta description before, the share dot Twitter or whatever it says. So I think it just grabs whatever it can from that excerpt, and I mean I'm sure it probably figures it all out as it goes, but that's kind of weird. I've never heard of the image thing.
Maybe it's that Google kind of works real hard for the important stuff, and then when it figures out what's not that important, that it kind of lets it go. Like, because I'm thinking about that tag that was ranking, and it was on like page 2 or something. So Google was like, it doesn't matter. I'll just focus on page 1.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point too. Who cares about this crap? They're probably like subcontracting the management of page 2 and beyond to other companies.
There you go.
Man, I'm trying to get to all this stuff. There was a lot of stuff we put on this list. I don't think we're
Well,
going to get
one more thing I wanted to say about the authorship stuff is that what I read from the post is they're not getting rid of authorship; they're just getting rid of the images in the results.
Yeah.
And another thing I gathered from the article is that I can't remember what exactly was quoted, but it sounded like they were talking about officially recognizing this author rank. Was that in there?
You know, damn, I should have read that post.
I caught you sharing something you didn't actually read.
Yeah, I kept reading the everybody's post where they copied and pasted what he said, and I kept assuming that it was a Google Plus post, and that was it. I don't know why I didn't check in to see what else he wrote, but yeah, that's my first thought when I heard about this was this is going to push author rank forward, man. Because I think what they're actually removing is the picture and the amount of people you have circled or whatever it's called there, the circle count or whatever.
Right.
So authorship, yeah, it's still there, but yeah, I think it's going to be a big way for them to tell who are the real publishers, because a lot of people did this just to get the photo, and there's nothing wrong with that, really, I don't think, but I think this is going to be a way for them to tell who the real publishers are, and then really put forward or put an emphasis on ranking through topical stuff or however.
So you mean the only people that would actually make the effort to do authorship would be the ones that are actually involved in the niche? Or actually involved in writing?
No, I just think that by removing the photo, they've made their job easier, I guess. I'm not sure how hard it actually was, but I think that by removing the photo, they've removed a large portion of the people that use authorship, because some of them only did it for the photo. Now that there's no photo there, I think there's just going to be the hardcore publishers, not necessarily in the make money niche or the writing niche, but the people that are real passionate about writing about whatever their niche is. I think they're going to be the only ones that do it. Whereas now, everybody was doing authorship. Everyone who has a blog almost was doing it, and every SEO guy in the world was probably telling his clients to do this, right off the bat. Not only that, it turned into a money grab. I've had people call me and tell me that they can get my image in the search result for $500. So, you know what I mean? I think they've just eliminated that whole part of this thing, and I think that was probably smart. And honestly, I'm glad to have my image out of the search, because when you're not photogenic, man, that click-through rate that everybody talks about.
We had a bunch of complaints from ugly people. They're like, my click-through rate has dropped.
Yeah, exactly. How come there's only women that have traffic now? This sucks.
I actually like the image in the search results, because I recognize people. I'm like, oh, I know that guy, or I've read his stuff before. I'll click on it, or I won't click on it. Like it's just instant filter for. But I'm a marketer, so my clicking activity is a little bit skewed.
So let me get this straight. You think the image in the search results page actually help with brand recognition?
I do.
Thank you. I I've been having this conversation with this guy that was telling me it has nothing to do with that. It does not help brand recognition in any way. I'm like, man, how can it not? You use this same image everywhere on the web, and now you have that image on the website or on a web page belonging to one of the most powerful companies ever, and you're going to tell me that that doesn't help brand recognition? And I mean, that's exactly what you just said is exactly why people do it, because when they recognize this guy, they're looking for something, and now they see this picture. Oh, I know that guy. They're going to trust that more. That's brand recognition. That's branding. I mean, I don't know much of, I never like went to college or nothing like that, but that's seems to me like the definition of branding yourself.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's instant because when you see in the results everything is blue and green or purple if you clicked on it, it's like you have to look at those little tiny URLs and you have to kind of figure out what's going on in search results. Um, where I mean this makes it easy. It's like your eyes instantly go to the color thing. Even with a bunch of different pictures, it's still easier to discern who you trust and who you don't.
Yeah. The only thing that I really hate about this is that I just had my newest image. Uh, I got a gig on Fiverr and paid like $20 to have her like clean my image up because it's taken with a cell phone, so I wanted her to clean it up and put a dark background behind it because all that's there now. I don't know if you can see it now, but all that's there now is like a brown fence and then like the sky and stuff. So I was like, man, clean that image up and maybe give me like a darker background so it'll stand out in the search.
Like a halo around your head with a soft glow.
Yeah. So now that's pretty much money wasted, but it's only $20, so I guess it's not too bad, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it saved me a bunch of hassle because I have a website that I use on a different profile and it never got authorship. That was the same site that I had the manual spam action on, and I did like link wheels and stuff like on it, and I finally got it out, but it never got authorship. So I was like, all right, well, what I'm going to try to do is change out authorship because I have authorship on this profile, and I was wondering maybe Google sees that I have two profiles and they don't want me with two different pictures in the results. I wanted to bring it over, but now like I'm not even going to mess with it.
Yeah, there was, man, what was he saying about that? And I can't remember what he was saying about that. Now, I was listening to something the other day. He was talking about the authorship thing, about running two different profiles with the same name.
Who was talking about that?
Darnell Declan or something like that. He's this big affiliate marketer guy.
Was he saying it's possible or not possible?
No, he was saying that he tried it, but it didn't work for him. I'm trying to remember everything he said. I was just kind of listening to it briefly. But one thing he said was that Google hasn't given everybody that's tried to implement authorship. They haven't given it to everybody who's tried. So I have a client that has it set up and everything's working, but he doesn't get it. So I think it's because it's a new site and stuff like that. But maybe it was because we tried to get it and they already knew they were phasing it out. But there's a lot of people that try to implement it that don't get it, and I think this is like the second time I've heard of somebody trying to use a different profile and it didn't work. So did you have the same name?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they track which accounts are logged in and logged out of. They track your IP.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can track other things about the specific device you're using, like a MAC address or something. So I'm pretty sure, unless you're like ultra secretive about it and have like your own separate stations that are on different Wi-Fi routers or something like that, that they're gonna figure it out one of these days.
Speaking of You got something here. I wanted to talk about the black hat stuff a little bit, and you said they're organizing.
Well, I was just surprised because I mean, every once in a while there's a post from the Black Hat forum that ranks,
Yeah,
and they rarely talk about legit stuff, but sometimes something I'm searching for pops up. Usually it's like review type stuff, but they like Black Hat people are not um, quote unquote evil. Like they don't want to destroy the search results. They have basically just gone to the dark side. Like they think that the best way to rank is by manipulating the algorithm. So it's almost like I don't know. It's just a different side of the coin. If you do white hat stuff, you're following the rules, and you rank sometimes, you rank don't. You rank sometimes, and sometimes you don't. And from what I've seen, at least the legitimate black hatters, some people are like spam, whatever, but legitimate black hatters, they're like they have their methods, they have their own set of rules or ethics, uh, they have their own like systems of what they do. I don't know. It's just like a completely different world.
yeah. This whole this whole gray hat thing to me, it seems like it's getting more popular now too. Um, and it's like you said, I've seen stuff from Black Hat Forum ranking recently, and it makes me wonder if it's because I've been writing more reviews lately, so I've been kind of searching out that kind of stuff. But I can't remember what it was the other day. But I mean, there it was. It was the Black Hat Forum, whatever it's called, Black Hat World or whatever, with site links and everything, ranked number one. I was like, man, that is crazy.
I guess people can talk about whatever they want. So Google, good on Google for not like deranking them. You'd think they'd say like, here's like the honeypot of people talking about how they're trying to game the system, ranked in Google for everyone to see.
Yeah,
So that's what I mean about them having like this whole community. I would think that they'd figure out if I'm going to dedicate my day to communicating with other people about how to rank sites in Google, why not just spend the time and follow the rules? Why spend the time figuring out how to break the rules?
that's that's the part that throws me off about the whole black hat thing because them dudes work way harder than we do, man. And I understand sometimes they can get in on some pretty competitive niches, and I'll admit that sometimes I want to know like how did he do that? If this is true, if this dude really did some black hat stuff and got to page one, spot one for make money, then yeah, I'd like to know how he did it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm damn sure not gonna do it on this profile. But I think it's interesting to look at it and figure out how they do that stuff. And then, like I said, to look at how much work they put in. And black hat SEO is way more technical than white hat stuff. I mean, they've got
And
all
more
kinds of,
expensive.
yeah, yeah,
You
way
gotta have a
more.
lot more tools. You gotta get a lot more links. Um, got to spend a lot more, I think, time figuring it out. Like, because one wrong move and you can damage your site like instantly.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest turnoff for me is that like you said, one thing, man. I think white hat SEO is a little more forgiving. Um, like we were talking about in the show notes, like pagination and stuff like that. I think that's the same thing as like having duplicate stuff, right? Is that
I don't think so. Maybe we're talking about different stuff. The I call it pagination.
no.
Um, which is just one of those things like you see it all the time and you never read it out loud. Have you ever been in one of those situations where like GIF and GIF?
Yeah.
I always said GIF, and I know a lot of people say this is a special situation, but the first time I said it out loud, it was like the whole circle of people that I was talking to turned to me and they're like, it's not GIF, it's GIF. And it was embarrassing. And that happens sometimes when you work on the internet. You see these words and you like invent your own way of how you say it.
Yeah.
Anyway, pagination, whatever. I thought that was a plugin where that organizes a long post into pages.
Oh, damn, I don't even know what that is. I thought pagination or pagination or whatever it's called. I thought that this was when you have a post on, let's say how to make money, and then it's part of your categories and also your tags. So that post is actually on 3 different or more URLs, right? It's on mysite.com/ how to make money, mysite.com/tag/ how to make money, right? So I thought that was what pagination was. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I thought it was, but I've also seen that referred to as no, I don't know, man. I want to say I've seen that referred to as taxonomies too, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, that's what I thought it was, and that's what I was saying, that white hat SEO is more forgiving of that type of stuff.
Huh. No, well, I mean, it looks like you might be right here. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article. It says pagination is used in some form of almost every web application to divide return data and display it on multiple pages. Or maybe that means I'm right.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't help me at all. I don't know. I still don't understand.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Someone will watch this and help us out. If you're watching this or watching the replay and you know what we're talking about, please leave a comment and educate us.
Please.
Okay, black hat, white hat, or gray hat. Do you think there is a way to do natural link building in a way that is white hat?
I mean, I don't think so. Not in the way that it's most often referred to, but I'll tell you a story. The other day, a friend of mine, he actually lives in the same city as me. He's a freelance writer and he's on Google Plus, and he was trying to run a Hangout, and I wanted to watch it. I think he's a good writer. He's got a lot of good information, so I wanted to watch it. Well, he, like everybody else, he was having trouble trying to figure out how to get the Hangout. He was actually in the Hangout. Nobody could see it. I mean, we've all heard this story a million times. So I PM'd him and I told him, what to do, and he asked if I could, join the Hangout and try to help him with it. So we recreated the whole event and everything, and I helped him do that. And I told him, like I tell everybody in a situation like that, if you still need help, I'll make you a video later. And he said, yeah, if you do that, I'll feature it on my post and everything like that. So I was like, cool, can I put it on my blog? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I wrote a post about it again, made a video, and now there's a link from his blog to my blog. And that's, I mean, it's not like link building like everybody else thinks about it, but that's a great way to get a good link. I mean, we're both in similar niches. It's a legitimate link. I mean, I don't know how you can get a better link than that, really.
Yeah, it's a real gray area. After I think it was 2011, maybe must have been spring 2011 when the first of the big algorithm updates came, and I lost. It was like a week before or a couple weeks before one of my sites hit 1,000 visitors a day, and by the next month it was 100. It was cut by a tenth. It was because I was doing link building, article marketing, link networks, everything under the sun that I thought was legitimate, but apparently not. And ever since then, I've been super gun shy on building links, and I haven't done any. I did some guest posting, maybe like 2 or 3. and I did some articles, like 5 when the website first got started, and that's it. And a year later, I'm at over 1,000 visitors a day. So like you can rank and you can get traffic and you can make money without building a single link. However, I know people that have ridiculously low quality content and outrank me. So, and I have a feeling they are building links. So it's like, do you want to play with fire? Maybe if I had done link building, I could be at double the traffic or triple the traffic where I am now. But for me, it's too much of a risk. I mean, there's always risk that someone like builds bad backlinks to you, but I mean, you can get rid of those. Um, but like for me, the one, it's playing with fire, so I don't even want to mess with it. I'm not going to risk building some bad backlinks to do that. The other thing is it worth my time? Like, to actually get good backlinks, you have to do the research, you have to figure it out. There's like all kinds of tutorials and products you can buy about how to buy high PR domains, and how to use anchor text properly, and how fast to build them and when to build them. And people have all these like strategies, and it's like a whole nother language. And it's like, do you want to do that, or do you want to write content for your website?
Yeah, that's my whole thing with it too. I'm really scared of links, just like you are. I'm always concerned that I'm going to end up with the wrong one somehow, And I mean, I know that we've got a little bit of room for error there, but that's what everybody thinks until that room for error is gone, and then your site is down, and you've got all this cleanup to do. I'm always afraid of it, and I think that some link building is totally fine. Guest posting, I still leave comments sometimes with a link to my site. I try not to do that often, but I still do it. I think it's okay. I think the biggest thing when you're doing stuff like that is to mix it up. But I mean, you could put a lot of thought into this, like you said, and get all these products and tools and information and lay all this crap out on a CSV sheet and rotate your anchor text and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, I really think that it's probably really is just better to write content. And I'm not saying don't, maybe this isn't an area not to look into. I'm speaking for me personally right now. I still think that it's okay to go out and try to get links and stuff like that, but I'm not going to waste a whole day trying to build links or something like that. I'm not going to have a link building campaign or nothing like that. I am looking for places to get traffic from, though, you know what I mean? So if I can guest post and get a link to my blog, that's great. If it's no follow, I really don't care, though.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be different for every individual what they're comfortable with, and I think Google tries to see intent. I don't think they can, but for me, I always look at my intent. If my intent is to network with someone, if my intent is to help the community or help the niche, then it's a good link. If I leave a comment and have my URL in the comment name, and it's a post I'm actually interested in, and I want to leave a comment just because I want the attention, or I want to make my opinion known, like that's a good link. If part of my strategy is every Friday to go out and try to spin an article and get it on somebody else's blog, then that's not good intent.
Yeah, that's the kind of work I'm talking about too. There's no way I'm gonna do that, man. Spin an article for a link. For one thing, again, we're back to the spinning the article. That's more work than just writing another one, man. I've tried those article spinners before. I didn't like it. It was ridiculous, man. Have you ever seen one?
Oh yeah, I used to use them all the time.
Yeah, that's craziness to me, man. At least the one I was using was not easy. It was not easy at all. it had these three little boxes, and you had your main content, your uh, original piece there, and then it would go line by line, and you rewrite it, and it highlight. I was like, man, this sucks, dude. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, back in the day, I got pretty used to it. They can, I know, like somehow this episode I'm turning into like this gray hat marketer, but um, I understand the theory behind it. Like, the theory behind it is you write one piece of content, it's not going to rank all the time for all places. So if you take that piece of content and you write it in a few different ways and you submit it to different places, you have a greater chance of ranking that in all places all the time. At least that was my theory behind it. And then, you use the spinner, you write some similar words in there, and you kind of rewrite some of the sentences, and it comes out like, I call them pop articles. They're like articles that they don't really help anyone, but they make sense, and they're kind of like, I don't know, 3 ways to drink your beer faster. It's like, do we really need to know that? It's content, it fills the gap, it produces, it feeds the content machine, but it's like no one needs to hear that or read that. But yeah, that was the type of stuff it produced. And then if you do that, it comes out kind of jacked up in the beginning, and then if you do a final review, it can turn out okay. But you're absolutely right that at the end of the day, it takes just as long, if you're familiar with your niche, to just write something from scratch.
Yeah. That's what I found. I was going to try it a while back, and it just seemed easier for me to do it the other way. But yeah, I see the benefit in having different content. I guess, what is that called? Spreading your net, or whatever, or casting your net as wide as you can. I totally get that, but I just think rewriting it is way better. And not only that, but I think it's like you said, man. The more focused the links are, I really think that Google. I don't think they're there yet, but I think they're going to get really good at figuring out that intent, and how close is this niche to what you're doing, and what are you really trying to say? Because like right now, I've got stuff that I've written that I feel is way better than what's ranked right now, but it's not there. So I think that I probably got a little bit of work to do on that part too, but I think all that's going to get better, especially with this whole authorship thing going away, or the photo thing going away, because I think the author rank is going to get way more powerful, or exist, because I guess it really doesn't exist, but whatever. But I've seen
that's hard though, like, because how can they place weight in authors? So let's say we start our authorship now, and we build 10 years of an audience. So we've got 100,000 followers, and we've got 2,000 articles, and all these shares. Our author rank is going to be super strong. How can anyone new compete with that?
I mean, you could say that about anything, couldn't you? I mean, a new website that comes into a niche, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? I mean, when you come into whatever you're doing, you should really, find that niche that's low competition. So, I mean, I see that it's going to be a little bit different, but I think it's the same as anything else. I mean,
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
There's not going to be, like in our niche, it'll probably be a little bit different than the make money online niche, but I mean, there's not going to be 10 authors on, planting orange trees that are super competitive and that even have authorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think those kind of niches are going to be less affected, obviously, but I still think it'll be pretty much just like a niche, picking a niche and picking a keyword. Randy's got a thing here. He said regarding Nathaniel's productive day yesterday when he was talking about what you were drinking.
Yeah, today is definitely a 3-cup of coffee day.
Ah.
I don't know why Amazon. So I bought a bunch of stuff on Amazon, and I signed up to send me texts when it's shipped and when it gets on the carrier vehicle. And I don't know why they send them at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, I guess normal people are up at that time, but they always send me early in the morning, and I check them, and then I get the message, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just check my email real quick. And then someone leaves me a nasty comment, and I'm like, I've got to answer this comment right now. So I'll get up and go to my computer, and then I'm up for the day.
Okay. I'm checking the comments here on the event, or trying to. I love it. You said, I guess normal people are up at that time. I'm the same way. I sleep late, man. Perks of
Definitely. Like, my whole schedule is shifted about 2 hours from the 9 to 5. Like, wake up about 9, maybe 8, usually about 9, and then in bed like 12 or 2 o'clock, sometime between there.
Yeah, for me, I try to do that, but I'm way later. I like to get up. Actually, I like to get up early, but I don't like to go to bed early. So it's about 10 for me. I usually end up getting up, but I like to stay up till about 4 sometimes, man.
Really, a night work.
Yeah, night person. I love
Sometimes
it.
you get in that zone, like at night. It's almost like your body skips that sleep schedule or something. And like, if you don't fall asleep before 11, it's like your eyes bug out and you get that computer zone, and you're like, I'm gonna write 12 articles in the next 2 hours.
Yeah, you really do catch a second wind. My son, about 11:30, he gets delirious, man. He can't even contain himself. Hold on. All right, I guess go ahead.
Is that him listening on the side?
Yeah. He was getting mad at me. Anyway, I guess we're a little bit over now, so we can wrap this thing up. Unless you got anything else you want to add to
it. Nope. I think that's about it. I think the main thing is that I'm not really worried about what Google is changing in the search engines right now. I mean, pay attention to it. Like, if they change something big, like the hummingbird stuff, where it's like, oh, maybe you want to target a little bit more casual phrases, or don't waste your time on your authorship photo or stuff like that. But mostly I'm focused on creating content for my site.
Yep, I agree with that. It's good to be aware of it, but beyond that, you should be doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, and everything will turn out just fine. All right, I guess on that note, we're going to end this thing. I don't see any more questions, so if you guys have any other questions after this, you can just leave them in the event page, and I'll get to them. And that, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Later.